Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And for those of you that don't know who we are, Ron and I are the co-founders of the Ridge Project and the co-creators of TYRO.
TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior.
Ooh, yes, I love that word, warrior.
You know, and that's what we get to do. We get to empower families to really understand what it means to fight for your legacy.
Mm-hmm. And when we think about a warrior, we're thinking about somebody that's a leader in their home, their community, and their workplace. You see, Ron and I developed TYRO out of our own personal experience. So Ron did 15 years of prison on the inside, while the kids and I did the time on the outside.
And so we were able to really harness that experience and grow from it. You know, what should have probably destroyed our family, the whole thing turned and flipped into our favor, where it strengthened us, it brought us together, it made us determined that we were not going to let the system or anybody outside of our family destroy what really is beautiful and was meant for us to grow and thrive.
So all of the principles that we learned through our journey, we now put into our TYRO curriculum and we share on TYRO TV so that we can help people coming behind us also create their family legacy.
And so if you're ready for a challenge and you're up for this thing, listen, we push people all the way to the edge, and sometimes we got to push them off because
in a good way, right?
Because you know what? To be successful in today's society, in today's world, with social media everywhere, and you want to hustle and you want to create a legacy that will stand the test of time, right? You got to be up and ready for the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And so in order to be ready for the challenge, you have to understand what it is you're about to face. You have to know what it is that you have to be prepared for so that you can be trained to be able to show up and face the challenge.
Equipped,
that's right. And so that's what we are all about, is making sure you're equipped to build your family legacy. So today on TYRO TV, we're going to be talking about something that is really fun and kind of serious too.
You know, I know when I first went to prison, it was all about me, right?
What?
And there would be times that I didn't know how to turn off, where I was always requesting, did you hear the lawyer? Do you have money? I was always in a serious mode when you guys came.
Yep.
And I wasn't fun at all. I don't know why.
So what we're going to talk about today is how to balance fun time. And that means balancing fun time while you're doing your time in prison, but most importantly, also how to balance fun time in connecting with your children and your family. This is really, really important. And these tips and tools are going to help you build bonds that you aren't even going to believe.
So listen, stay tuned. You don't want to miss this, because we want to really help you understand what it means to be fun, right, in the midst of this experience you're having. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And today we're talking about how to balance fun time in the midst of your ordeal. You know, that's hard, right?
That is hard. And it even sounds crazy. It's like, wait a minute. So you're telling somebody who is in this horrific situation of doing time in prison that we need to, first of all, have fun.
Oh,
second of all, balance that fun time with serious time.
Because we're talking about...
And it sounds bizarre.
It does, because you're sad, you're depressed, you're angry, right? You're maybe even a little bitter, and you're disgruntled, you're disenfranchised. All these negative attributes are flooding you in and out, right?
And so sometimes that comes out in actually having all this fun and saying, you know what, I'm not going to take anything serious. I'm only do the classes I'm required to do. And other than that, I'm going to be gambling. I'm going to be playing basketball. I'm going to play softball. I'm going to do all this fun stuff. But then when you get a visit, it gets to be really serious. Like, did you talk to the lawyer? I don't have any money in my books. Like, everything's serious and everything's hard.
So I think when we talk about what we're talking about is because I think the reason why men will be such engaged in the activities inside the penitentiary, it's so that we can remove ourselves from what we're experiencing, right? And so, but when the reality comes back to us is when we're in the visit. And now, because we weren't, because I remember...
Because you weren't prepared
Yeah.
for that visit. You spent all your time playing, so now you're not prepared for that challenge of really engaging your family.
And then our engagement is negative. Our engagement is serious. It's hard, and we're driven, and we want answers, and we're no
and
longer...
it's command and demand.
Yeah. And so we're not fun to be around with even in a visit because we were having too much recess inside, right? And now we don't know how to have recess outside.
And see, and then flip that. So your family is out there and it's all serious, 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 serious. And so they're coming to the visit thinking, you know, okay, this is going to be a break from the harshness of the reality that we're out here in the front lines and we're the ones that are facing all of the societal judgment, right? And all those labels. And now we get to come in here and just relax. But then, so we're at odds because your family's coming to get built up and enjoy time together, and you're coming to be serious. It's like, okay, now it's time to be serious. And so that can create all types of conflict. And for your kids, it can create a whole chasm of distance between you and them.
You know, I remember the times when you would come to visit me and I would be ready to talk about some serious things of our relationship and I would practice that stuff in my mind.
Yeah.
Right? Over and over again. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to deal with issues that are creating a wedge between us. I'm ready to deal with issues that will help us move forward. I'm ready to deal with
Can we just talk? Can we just enjoy some time together?
And
you have to be so serious?
And you would say that, and you were coming to so that you can let all that stuff behind you, but I'm coming because I haven't talked about it for 3 months or 2 months or whatever, however time it's been per visit, and I'm ready to deal with it, and we only got 3 hours, and we're gonna be serious the whole time.
Right. And so, and the boys are looking for that affirmation, that connection, that smile and laughter and bonding with daddy. And instead, what they're getting is a lot of lecture and a lot of, you know, this is what we need to do and this is how we need to do it. And are you taking care of this? And so then they sober and start building kind of a wall because they're not getting that connection. So what we're talking about is really balancing that fun time to make sure that, you have those real connections with your kids and your family, and you're talking about things that are important and that need to be discussed, but you're balancing that with fun and connection. Because if you don't have fun, you're not going to be building those bonds that are going to help you make it through this experience.
And we've experienced it and we've witnessed it where a lot of families, they were coming consecutively, they were coming consistently to visit the person that's in prison that they love, but then all of a sudden the visits slowed down and they dropped and they stopped. And the question was always asked, so what happened? Why don't they come and see you anymore? And you think it's really time. Well, you know what? I've been here a long time. It's gotten old. It's gotten dreary. Well, really what I think and what we've seen is because we didn't create a great atmosphere and a great experience for them that, you know what? It's dreading to go see dad. It's dreading to go see my brother. He's such a depressed guy. He's always serious. There's nothing fun in his life.
He's always
there.
requiring more of me than what I have to give.
And misery loves what?
Exhausted.
Misery loves company. And if we're always miserable when we go out to the visit, they ain't coming.
unless they're that miserable too. And it's like nobody wants that kind of experience. You know, and that happens whether you're inside or whether you're outside. So these principles are going to help you as you begin to change what you're doing, change your perspective on what visits mean, what phone calls mean, what letter writing, and what the intent is. You begin to change that. And then that is going to help you through the transition back home and back into your kids' lives, back into your family's life. And so what we're really talking about, and we keep saying, okay, what we're talking about, so that we make sure that you understand what it is. And the principle is that it isn't, you can't always be the dictator. It's like, okay, well, I'm the father, and you know what, and I need to lead, and I need to lead well. Well, leading well has a lot to do with engaging people, that especially your kids, so that your kids want to follow you. Because if you're the dictator and you're just in command and demand mode, your children don't want to follow you. They feel mandated to follow you. So the first opportunity they get to run from that, they're going to run.
You know, fear will set in because when you're always in command and demand mode, you're not friendly, right? And I think when you say the dictator role, if you're always in that role, you have to create, when you say lead well, you have to also engage well, right? Just because you're the commander-in-chief of your home, you know what? There's so many decisions being made when you're not there. And they're going to resent, why are you always trying to command?
Why are you trying to control it?
Why do you use control? Can't we just have a great visit? We don't got to talk about the serious stuff for a minute?
And the thing is, when Ron started changing that, our whole family started changing. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about why it's so important to balance fun. And then towards the end of the show, we're going to talk to you about how to do it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And today we're talking about balancing your time with a guy named Fun.
That's right, especially with your family. So figuring out the balance between working hard and playing hard is really important.
And being serious and not being serious, right? Because your family is coming to see you in a place where they're coming because they want to escape the reality that they're living out here in society,
right,
where there's judgment and there's ridicule and there's displacement and there's disenfranchising in their lives, right? And so they get a moment, they get 3 or 4 hours, they come into a visiting room with you, they're looking for a place of escape, right? But if we come out into the visiting room and we come in with such hardness,
and you're creating this really difficult situation, and it's like, wow, this is not fun. You know, and I remember Blake and Brandon saying to me, Mommy, it's not fun to visit Daddy. And at one point I thought, well, it's not supposed to be fun. And then I realized, you know what? It has to be fun. There has to be a component. The whole thing doesn't have to be fun, and it's not going to be fun. But creating and having that fun in the midst of it creates great family memories, because this is all the memory that your children are going to have. This, whether you're doing 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5, 10, whatever it is, during that season, the only memories they're going to have of you are the memories that we're building in their interaction with you, whether it's on the phone or whether it's in the prison visiting room. And you don't want it to just be the dictator dad.
So back to why.
Yeah.
You're creating a memory, right? You're creating a memory for your children, you know, and of course we don't want our kids to end up in prison, and we're not trying to create to show that this is a playground. This is real. But your children are so vulnerable right now. The way you engage with them, the way you empower them to understand that this experience that we're having is not a lifestyle, it's just an event in our life, and how you deliver that experience to them is going to form their opinion, not only about you, but that place.
And it's really important, because as you begin to give them permission that, you know what, it's okay, this is a tough situation, we don't like this situation, prison isn't creating fun, but we get to choose in the midst of the most difficult situation how we are going to respond and interact. And when you begin to teach children that, then they are much more prepared to face challenges and remain steady and focused and confident that they can continue to live and overcome and experience, you know, even joy in the midst of hardship.
So why is it important? Because you are empowering your children to know, look, you're facing a tough situation right now. You know what? But you can overcome the depression and just, yes, this is an ugly place to have recess in, right? But you know what? Just because it looks ugly doesn't have to be ugly in here. Because even with the vending machines, and we're going to talk about later on how you can make this experience a fantastic experience. But there's even times when you're going to be real with your kids of that this is an ugly place.
Right. But allowing them to see that even in the midst of difficult or tragedies, we still have a choice. We determine our own attitude. We determine our own responses, our own reactions to it. And your kids understanding that, then that will equip them not just to get through this. Yes, it will give them the strength and the courage to get through this, but also in future challenges. They will be equipped to know, hey, you know what? This is really hard. It might be really unfair. It's really difficult. People are judging me, but I get to choose how I live my life, even in the midst of it. And when you feel empowered that you have choice, even in the midst of difficult situations, because guys, let's be real. You don't get a lot of choice. You don't get to make a lot of decisions in your life right now. But the one key decision you get to make is your attitude and how you react or respond to what's happening around you.
So when your family comes into a visiting room, for example, and the guard, maybe he's having an off day or something, and maybe he didn't treat your family with respect or whatever happens, right? We've seen it. It's real.
Lived through it.
My sons, we've been through that. And so they come to the visiting room and say, man, did you see what that guard said to us? Do we know what he did? You know what? He said, you know what? And I had to talk to kids. You know what? This is not a great place to be. This is a dark place.
Well, I remember a great phrase that Ron used to use. He would say, this isn't our world. This is their world. And if they want, they get to decide how they behave in that world. In our world, this is what we do. And it was like, wow, that's right. We don't get to control that world.
We're just passing.
We get to control ourselves.
Yeah, we're just passing through. Yeah. But in the midst of passing through, how do we want our experience to be? Right? Because if something's not going right when your family comes into the visiting room and they have a conversation with the correction officer, right? It can quickly go south. Right. And the visit's terminated.
And if you add fuel to that fire, what you're teaching your kids is that everybody else around the world gets to dictate your experience. And that isn't true. We get to choose our own experience. Now, people might do things or say things that affect or infect us, and then we have to self-regulate and say, you know what? I'm not going to let that ruin my visit. I'm not going to let that ruin my life. I'm not going to let that define me. And when we know we have those choices, we're empowered to overcome anything. And Dad, you set the tone.
Now, I know families who have come into a prison and the guard has turned them away because they're saying, you know what, your clothes are improper and you are not they don't reach the standard here where you can wear into this visiting room. You have to either go down to the store and buy something or your business is terminated. And I've seen a lot of people take that so personal that they retaliated verbally with the guards. You know what? I wore this last time I was getting in here and it was okay. And that may be true, but the guard is on duty may have found out that, you know what, that's not appropriate. You can't wear that in here. And so our challenge is to the family, listen, you already know the rules here. If there's even a question or a hint that you might not get in the visiting room if you're wearing those pants or wearing that shirt, don't worry.
So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to talk to you about how you can do this. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Dear son, it's been hard these last few years, watching you grow up without me in the picture. Never taking the time to find out how you were or what was going on in your life. You're just a boy, I thought. You don't need me. I didn't need my dad. He was never around, I told myself. But I was wrong, son. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I was thinking of me, not you. If I could go back, son, and change things, I would. It's taken me all this time being selfish to finally grow up and realize I need to be a responsible man. That's what I finally learned, not from prison, but the TYRO program. It's all about becoming a better, stronger man. Wish I would have gotten it sooner. Everything looks different to me now. I'm a changed person. I know I need to be there for you now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about being cool. It's not about who I run with. It's about mom. It's about you. It's about being a better man, learning something new in my life. It's about being a TYRO, a man worth following. I'm your dad. You're my son, and I love you. I am a TYRO. I'm a TYRO. Dad.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And today we are talking about how to balance fun, how to balance an experience that's positive for your children. Now, dads, what we're talking about is we know you're in a hard place. We know it's tough where you're at, but your children don't need to know all that. They need to know that you're dad first. They need to know that you're engaged and you care and you want to hear about their side.
And that was a really great point, Ron. Sorry to cut you off, because when you said that they need to know that you're dad first, they need to know when they come in there, they don't want to experience inmate. They don't want to experience convict. They want to experience dad. And so your role as dad, you have to be dad before your inmate number, whatever it is. Dad before your convict. Dad before your criminal. Dad before you're anything else in their lives.
And that's it, guys. Listen, if you can really understand the balance of that power that still is within you, that you can create that type of engagement, that type of, when you're leaning all the way in with your kids on a visit, and before you know it, the visit's over and they're like, wow, we just experienced this a visit. So when they grow up, they're going to be talking about the great experiences they had with you, Dad. And when you get home,
they just happened to be in a prison visiting room.
It just happened to be in a prison visiting room. But guess what? They leave stronger, they leave healthier, and they leave, and what's really is, they leave with a new sense of identity and a new sense of life. And they're able to dream again because you, Dad, are dad first. And they forget that you're even in prison for that split second.
And you're setting the tone and foundation for them to be able to achieve their dreams and to dream. And a newfound respect and honor for you. Not because you demand and command it, but because you interact and because they're building relationship with you. And it's really important. It's worth saying again, when Ron said, you're creating this experience, it's in spite of it being in a prison visiting room. And so my kids would say, wow, remember when we did this? And it just happened to be in a prison visiting room. Instead of saying, wow, I've heard so many kids say, yeah, well, we have prison visits. And so it's all about the prison visit instead of the experience with that. And so it's your job to create that experience. And we're going to share with you some tips on how you can do it.
I know that when we talk about you're doing time inside and you find activities that keep you busy, because the more busy that we find ourselves in penitentiary, the more we can numb ourselves to the reality that exists.
And the faster your time goes.
And keep busy and your days go by quickly. Really, but I want you to take in mind that there's got to be balance even in that. Because if you're not practicing balance inside, you're not going to practice that balance outside. You're going to be distracted with everything that's happening. So, because we numb ourselves, right? The first thing, if you remember when you were home, when you got your car, the first thing you did was turn your radio on. Or when you come home from work, first thing you do is turn the TV on. Same thing even in prison. If you have a TV in your cell or something like that, and you're coming off work and you're going to come in for lockdown for count time, right? First thing you do is turn your TV on, put your headphones on, and block off. We know that because we want to redefine our experience by numbing ourselves to what is really happening. Right? So I want to encourage you to don't sign up for everything. Make sure that you have a time where you can reflect on your day, write a journal. Right? Write a journal what's happening with you. And then maybe if you do have an activity, say it's softball, don't sign up softball, basketball, handball. Don't do that.
So as you like to say, Ron, don't have recess all day long.
All day long.
Right. You can't have recess all day long. But you have to block out time that you play and that you have fun. And then balance that with the time where you are actually learning and growing and becoming better. And that can be classes that you take. It can be, sign up for TYRO, right? Sign up for other classes that are going to help you become better and help you transition home successfully. And then balance it with fun and playtime.
Now, if you got some guys in your sphere of influence or wherever you're located, and the guys that are hanging with you, listen. If they're not pushing you to become a better dad, if they're not pushing you to become a better human being, period, right? If they're like constantly putting roadblocks maybe hating on you, or maybe even discouraging you to go get that GED, discouraging you to go read a new book, discouraging you to really grow in spite of where you're at, right? If you got guys like that in your life, I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to challenge you. Cut them off, man. Clean your garden. You've heard that. Weed your garden out. You don't need people like that in your life that are going to stunt your evolution, your growth as a father, as a husband, as a future employee, as a future citizen in this great country that we live in.
So as you do that, as you learn to balance that inside, then that's going to transition out when you get home, and you're going to be able to balance your work. You're going to work really hard, but you're going to play really hard too. So let's talk about the playtime in the visiting room. When we come back, we have to take a short break. We're going to give you specific tips and tools that you can use during those visits to invest in your kids. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And
And
today we are talking about how to balance fun time.
You know, I remember this was a tough one for us, I think, because we were still in shock and we were still in denial. We were still angry. It's hard to have fun when you're angry, right? I think for us, and scared. It's hard to have fun when you're afraid, because I was afraid that you were going to leave me. I was afraid that something could happen to me. I was afraid something was happening to kids. There's a lot of things that were battling in my mind, and yet I still want to try to be engaged with the kids. And so guess what? I mean, so a lot of times I was faking it to make it, right? I was trying to have fun, but I didn't know how to, because I was hurting inside, and I didn't want the boys to know that, you know what, I'm scared and I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but I didn't want them to feel that.
And they shouldn't feel that. So that self-regulation is really important. So yeah, understanding that that's how you're feeling is perfect, because then you can say, you know what, I'm feeling all these things, but now let me regulate that, because what I need to do is create a safe environment for my kids, so my kids can connect, and my kids can feel safe, protected, and really connected to me. And so let me tell you something that you can do with the vending machine, because this is a big deal. So you can do, like, you know, out here they have these progressive dinners, right? I didn't know that they existed until several years ago, but like, so you'll have like one place you'll go and you'll have an appetizer, another place you'll go and you'll have your main meal, and another place you go and you have your dessert. So you kind of do this progressively going to different restaurants or houses. So you can create the same thing in the prison visiting room by saying, you know what, we're going to have a progressive lunch today. And so that means you choose one vending machine, and that's where we get the first item of food. Then you have to choose another vending machine, that's where we're going to get that. And the third vending machine, that's where we're going to get our dessert. So you can't get all three items out of one vending machine. Or create something, you say, okay, it's going to be potluck. So everybody go up and choose one thing. We're going to put it all on the table. We're going to cut it up into small pieces or tear it into small bites, and everybody's going to get a little bit of everything. And so you're creating a game like, okay, everybody take one thing first, now we're going to go around again, everybody take another thing, and we try new things together. And sometimes it's like, ew, that was so gross, and sometimes it's like, wow, we found something we like together.
You might be saying, okay, we're not going to do that. Listen, you got to be inventive, you got to be creative, and you got to be someone they like to hang out with, right?
With the resources that are available to you right now.
You got to be cutting edge. You got to think outside the box, man. You don't be so monotonous. We know the walls are never
doesn't have to say like this.
And I mean, even when we would celebrate birthdays, which was the hardest time for us, right? We knew it was going to be a Hostess cupcake, and we were going to cut it in pieces. But it was a great memory. We celebrated the kid's birthday with a cupcake, and we made the best of it, right? And I know that there were some times where we didn't. I wanted to play games with the kids. So what do? There are no games in the visiting room at this time. We started cutting up napkins. We learned how to play checkers with napkins and paper towels and chess and all these things.
So far, 2 tips. 1, enjoy food together. Make it fun, make it entertaining, and make it enjoyable. Number 2, find ways to play together, to play games, whether you have to create those games, make them up, or if they have games in the visiting room, even better, go grab those. And so number 3
is come up with the new games that you can do verbally. Right, maybe memorization games. Maybe you just have to be so creative, and don't worry about what others are saying or what you're thinking. Remember, it's about you being dad. It's about you being engaged with your children, and then you got to be a husband too. You want your wife to know that, listen, I am learning, I'm growing, I'm in this with you. I know it's a hard place for all of us to be, but I'm going to do my best to make the best out of the situation so our children don't have such a bad taste in their mouth of this experience, that they can grow and they can learn to never want to come here, but they can hold this something dear in their life.
And the 4th one, the final tip, is to let your children set the tone. So if your kids come in and you can tell, look at their nonverbals and listen for cues verbally. If they have things in their heart that they really do want to be serious and share with you, let that set the tone. Don't try to be fun and funny when they need to connect with you on a serious level.
So pay attention to
detail.
Yep.
And so we hope that you've gained something today that's going to help you become a better dad and make the transition from in prison back into home in your kids' lives.
And if you haven't signed up for TYRO, we want to encourage you. Sign up, talk to somebody, one of your caseworkers, and get engaged in this. We guarantee you it will change your life.
Thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey. And so until next time, always remember that we are rooting for you.